Right. So hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us tonight on our Youth Services Committee meeting. So wanted to make sure, everybody got a chance to go over the minutes and have some approval of the September 2022 committee meeting minutes. Khalid, somebody's supposed to read over it and then approve it? Okay, let me. All right. John, you want to read? Do you have the meeting? I have the meeting.
So,
yeah.
Actually, this is Linda, yeah. Right? If the ones the minutes were sent out before the meeting start, everybody should have read it. So you would just need a motion to pass it.
Okay, I don't have to read it. Okay, great. Good. All right. Yes, thank you for helping me out, Linda. So everybody, yes, should have gotten the meeting minutes. So just wanting to make sure that we can say yay, that we approve the committee meeting minutes. If people could just use the little emojis and put the hands up or put your hands up, that would be suffice in terms of the minutes being approved. So I seen Cynthia put her hand up. John put his hand up. Linda put her hands up. Nicholas, you there? Luana put her hands up. Nicholas, you there?
Yeah, I'm just muted. I'm here.
All right. So do you approve the minutes?
Is Nicholas on the committee or just because he's a board member?
Visiting as a board member.
He's a board member. Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so he don't. If we don't have it, no problem. Okay, sorry.
So the meeting minutes have been approved, and we shall move on. And the note taker for tonight will be the lovely Miss Cynthia Rose. Appreciating her so much. She's taking notes for us tonight. So wanted to follow up the Youth Summit. Things are moving ahead very well. We're still working on just getting, finalizing some of the workshops and things like that. I know that I'm interested in leading a workshop. If anybody's aware of like a dynamic speaker that really is very motivational towards youth and can lead a great big group of young people and have them energized and involved, please let me know, because they are looking for like a keynote for that night. We're still solidifying things. I am working to make sure that we incorporate the job preparation workshop and a lot of the ideas that we talked about for our meeting. The next thing is, yes, so we all talked about the workshop, the updates, choosing the date. Things is, I would like to see if that's something we could more so do. Can we come up with a committee of like a tentative date that we want to do it, because we need to now start to look for space and place, I have connections with particular schools that we can partner with. And so if we can start to at least say, okay, we'd like to do it around this time, maybe we could utilize one of the schools like in Prospect Heights, are possible places. I met with the guidance counselor who will be on at 8 at Base High School. That may be a place that we can partner, foster a partnership and be able to do the job preparation workshop. But if I need to give them timeframes and things like that, so that they know that, we would want to book it early and do what we need to do to have it. So what do we think is a good time frame to have the job preparation workshop? John, you had any suggestions? I see you raised your hand. Oh, your hand's probably still up from before. Any suggestions on when we should have the workshop?
What was the time frame before that I was aiming at?
Say that again.
What was the time frame before that everybody was actually aiming at?
Well, I know we said we wanted to work to see if we could have one during the youth summit, right? Which would be December 10th. But then we were saying we wanted to have another one before like job internship vending fair that we were having, which we are planning to do that around April, because that would be like right before SYEP or around the time SYEP applications start to come out. So we're thinking like doing a second one in March. And do we just want to like then just utilize a school space to be able to do it? Or where would we want?
The school space sounds great. How about, I would say March, maybe early March early March.
Okay. Early March.
If everyone agrees with early March, sounds like a good time.
Right. And then what were we were planning, like one of the things we talked about is what are we gonna do? Like what kind of incentive or something would we do to like incentivize the kids to come? Because, you know, it's one thing to do all of this, but how are we gonna make it attractive for them to want to attend? Because that was another thing we had started talking about, but we hadn't really gotten a little deeper into that conversation, because, you know, planning now is, you know, really going to help us to be prepared for March.
The gift cards was a good idea as well.
John, you were saying something about, well, you said PS3s or something was hard to find, but that there might be something else, like if we wanted to bring a bigger gift. You said another.
I said PS5. Yeah, PS5 is hard to find. That's what I said.
Yeah, but you said Xbox or something else might be.
Huh? Oh yeah, I said that it might. I said yes. Xboxes. I think Xboxes are easier to locate than PS5s.
Okay.
They still have a big shortage.
On our Xboxes or PS5s?
PS5 still have a big shortage on it.
All right, so like Xbox, and maybe I think we also talked about like a large screen TV, because they are getting, you know, more affordable.
Yeah, I mean, right. If that's the case too, like around now, going now, November into December is the best time. Mm-hmm. So like I actually bought a TV for my son. Mm-hmm. For Christmas and put it up. I bought it. I think I caught it last week when it was I caught one for like 180 for 50-inch from Best Buy.
Okay. Yeah, so that wouldn't that won't be like a too big of a stretch if we could catch one on sale, you know, around. I mean, that's like a time of the year I would think that it wouldn't be expensive. It's not like a holiday or anything. So I think that's so basically, based on what we said, just to recap that we would reach out with Base High School, which is in Prospect Heights and CB9 area, to possibly host the job prep workshop. We're aiming for early March, so we'll pick and we're thinking like a Saturday. Are we thinking a weekday? What day of the week do you think would be most effective?
I mean, well, like you said, I believe if you do it on a weekend, you're gonna get more time out the space. Mm-hmm. Especially if it's a weekend, and you give them a heads up that they don't have nothing going on there. Because like if you do it on a weekday, you know, people got to work the next day, and they have to get this. Especially if it's a school too, they have to clean and have the space ready for the following day, and then we might not get a lot of people out on a weekday.
All right. So if we aim for a Saturday, I know that requires a different level of permit and may cost the school. So like, I know if we did it during the week, it would probably more than likely be free because we do it before the school closes. They already have their material and all of that. But if we could be lucky and they already have Saturday programs, it won't be as much of an interruption. But if they don't have Saturday programs, then there might be a cost, because then they'll be like, oh, well, we have to have security there. We have to have custodial staff there. So then we have to see, you know, what or if there will be a cost if we do it on a Saturday. So
then if we can't do it on a Saturday, we need to pick a day out the week also, just to have a backup. So then that way we could, you know, basically we could weigh it out. Well, if we can't do it on a Saturday, we have to do it on this weekday.
Okay. Okay, that sounds good to me. All right. I know we had talked about, so we just did the job preparation workshop, the job internship fair. So we talked about doing this, I believe April. We talked about Robert McNair Park. We haven't chose a specific date yet, because what I do want to do is make sure that we do it, we turn in the request early. So the thing to consider with April, though, is that that's spring break. Spring break is April 10th to the 16th. So would we want to do the job fair right before spring break or right after spring break? What do we think would be most effective?
I think the thing with after is reminding them. I know there's a risk with both. So if you do it right before, I mean, they're going to be so excited just to be off of school, so their minds might not be there. But then I think the only thing that might come with doing it after is just making sure that we remind them. Because after a week off, I mean, the last thing you're thinking about is another program. So maybe it could be like midweek or something like that.
Okay. And that would definitely have to be like a Saturday thing, because, you know, there's we could do something big like that during the week. So we do it the week after spring break. Does anybody, or could anybody possibly look up? Can somebody see if they can find out when is the SYEP? Because I don't know if they'd have it out yet, but when is the SYEP applications dropping? But if we kind of know that, we can kind of time it right. Because if we do it in the right way, when, like if let's say we coincided with when the SYEP applications come out, then I think we'll get a lot of the nonprofits who have the SYEP program offered would want to come, so that they'd know there'd be a lot of young people there to apply, or at least start to take the applications and engage the youth. So I think we could kind of time this in a way that would be like a win-win for everybody. Is there any information on, you know, I don't want to try to do 2 or 3 different things that out there as to when the SYEP application will drop out for next year? Would be for 2024. I mean, what am I talking about? 2023.
2023.
I just looked at 2022 dates.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing the deadline was May 6th. So it's probably around that spring break time or before.
So, okay. Sorry, Latween, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm gonna see if I can find the actual when they dropped in the past years, but I know the deadline for this year was May 6th. So at least we have an idea of when the deadline is.
So then maybe it would make sense to, if the deadline is the first week of May, then yeah, we wouldn't want to wait too late. We would want to definitely do it before the deadline, because, you know, then the kids have to have a week or 2 to get their documents and all the stuff in. So we would be, so looking at it, if we did it April 22nd, then the kids would have 2 weeks. So because May 5th might be the deadline. So you said the deadline last year was May 6th?
Yep, that's what I'm seeing right here. And then I also see a April 22nd date though, actually too. So I think that's cutting it close. Probably, let me see if I can find more. But basically around that time is the deadline.
So you seen an April and then you seen a May?
Mm-hmm. This was just a quick Google. So let me see if I can get exact dates for you. But that time frame is what we're looking at for deadlines.
So if it can drop anywhere between end of May and end of April, early May, we might want to do it like April 1st then. So then that would be 2 weeks before
spring
break. And it would then mean that they'd have enough time either way. So then we might, okay, so what do other people feel about that? Any feedback, y'all? Because I don't want this to be like, it's on my decision.
No.
So we're thinking Saturday, April 1st, April Fool's Day. I think if we do it that day, we have to play jokes on the kids though.
I was about to say, that'll be a fun, we can add a little more activity with that too.
All right, so we'll make it April Fool's Day. All right. So we could work on that then. All right. So Family and Youth Fun Day in the park. We talked about possibly Robert McNair Park, but Nicholas, there was something that you were discussing around that and gave a suggestion at the other meeting. Could you remind me of what that was, Nicholas? Nicholas? Okay, I'm not sure what happened, but he was asking about collaborating and possibly, okay.
Yeah, I stepped out for a moment. I'm back. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, so I wanted you to present to the rest of the group because I know you had presented it in the other meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Where you were talking about for the Family, Youth, and Fun Day in the park, there was something you wanted to collaborate with. So this is your opportunity to present it to the rest of the group.
Yes.
And you talked about another location. So I just wanted to kind of present it so we could think about what we want to do. Because again, I really would prefer that we put in our permits pretty early and figure out, you know, what it is that we're doing so that, you know, we're doing things in a timely fashion.
All right, this is great because what I wanted to present is to let you know that last year we had in Ronald McNair Park a family fun day that has all the different committee participating. So we had a youth fair, a health fair, a resource fair. Everybody was reunited. Actually, what I want to push for the next board meeting is to pass a resolution to establish the weekend after Memorial Weekend for that day. And also the idea to it, not only to move it from Saturday to Sunday because of Sabbath observers, but also to do it from one end of the community board to the other hand. It seems to me the same thing. What you are doing will be a duplication of what we've done last year. And that's why I wanted to introduce the subject. That doesn't stop for you to do what you want to do, which means we'll have both. So taking into account resources, I wanted us to just explore the fact because the same thing you were doing, we wanted, if you do it, we want it also to be reproduced the weekend after Labor Day. But the question sometimes is a question of resources. So we got to see how we can manage the resources. That's what I was talking about primarily.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you were saying that we could do it as a whole CB9 event?
Correct. And that's what we had last year. We had a whole CB9 event where that portion was there too. And
right.
This year we plan to have it a little bigger. This was our first time doing it.
Right. Well, I know that the one that we did last year was like vendors and different things. It's not exactly, you know, some of what we were saying, but I do see that it could be possible to collaborate. My only concern with it is that if this looked the way that it did last year, it was like last year was more vendoring, like what we're similar to what we're doing for the job and internship fair for the youth. And you had like the tables, people vendoring, people showing their organizations and all of that stuff going on. Now, my only concern with doing that is that the Family and Youth Fun Day, we're supposed to have a lot of activities. So there's only so much space in the park, at least that park, where you could do activities, but then you have all of those tables, and that's going to kind of,
Well, when this event was originally conceived, the first venue of choice was the Boys and Girls High School Field. And within the field, wanted to have all the youth activity, including a stage for music and presentation. But we took it, we ended up at Wallot McNair space because we didn't have enough time to plan. A lot of the stuff we tried to do, we couldn't do. So we had a reduced version of the original vision. You understand what I'm saying? Because the concept came, it was either that or Wingate Field, where you have all the space you need. And I agree with you. The sooner we start, the sooner we could put in the permit, so we could include all that activity. I even mentioned we should mix, and also it will be a day where we honor people in the community. I even suggest that we could have gotten somebody like what happened, the lady that played in the Wiz that still lives somewhat in Brooklyn, even though slightly not too far in our community. She played in the Wiz on Broadway. What's her name? Okay, so, and we will take that time to thank all the people that have been working all year. If, for example, we have people who have an organization that have been working with you for 30 years, like Cool Cartoon Screen. One of the people wanted to, that do a lot of sports stuff, wanted to use that opportunity to do that with DJs, music, band, different kind of bands and that. So that was the original concept. But we had to reduce it because we didn't have the resources and not enough time to raise the money. So so we only did part of that. Part of it will be vending, part of it will be all the other activities.
Okay. All right.
Could I say something?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Nicholas, you're right. That was a concept. And looking at this event, I would have loved that if we joined this event with our major community board. Yes, it would mean that we would have a bigger field. Please do not judge it because of last year. Last year was our first attempt. And so, you know, it was like whoever wanted to participate, we took. But I think coming up for this year, saying that this committee has, you know, that fun day, I think we should join with the entire board and be responsible for that part of the program. Right. If the youth services committee says we will take care of this, we will take care of the family day, we put our whole structure in, we would then know that the board will then know that we have to look for space to accommodate you. Because if the I'm not saying it can't be two things, but I must tell you that this year, this board is not, it's not like years where things are not happening. And I would rather us put it with the major family and fun day, right? Rather than leave it up, because if something happened, and there's no money, our day from CB9 is going to happen, and all the planning we do for this one is either going to be dribbled down or not happen. So if we begin from now, right, to make this one of the items in our community board day, then we would know that we have a space. Then we would know we will have to look for a bigger park, a bigger space, and we will go after that. We're early enough to go that, and you will be included in CB9's funding instead of having to look for extra funding for us.
Okay.
So I think that we need to put it as part of the CB9's
budget as
big
quick
fair,
as
and we as CB9 executive, we would know this is youth committees doing this, family and health might be having things. So even although last year was all seemed to be all tables and vendors, this year we would add some fun into it and some family events, exactly like how we planned.
Yeah. And I think another thing we could think about is, let's say, you know, because of the area and, you know, because one thing with Robert McNair is where it's located, the train, all of the trains that go there, the fact that it is by about 5 or 6 different schools, it's a good location. But what we could think of if we say, and maybe we still want to do that park, is maybe we could extend and do the whole block.
Yeah.
So like, since the block is mostly schools, it doesn't really disturb a lot of people. There's a few apartments, but it won't disturb as many people. So what we could do is say, okay, we're doing this on the park and the vending could be down the block.
Yes, it can.
So
yes,
you know what I'm
yes.
saying? So we could have,
actually,
we can expand it out.
Now, we could take all the vending back in the park. I was even using the there of the school. We could even use some of the activities in the school. We had a contract with Prospect Heights High School, which is my home school for 21 years. So we could use that as the staging stage for most of the stuff we do. Then we have the school part of deaf. That's next door. They have a huge children area, because actually we had thought of bringing a bouncing house. We could take all the vending and put it on the street because we had the whole street block.
Right.
We had all that space.
All the way to Eastern Parkway.
Right.
Yeah, but we didn't have the things to fill it up.
Well, we
so
didn't have
this
enough
year,
to fill it
could.
up.
Right,
The
this
only
year
thing
we
put
could.
on the street was the food court. So you
Right.
could extend that to that whole block between the park, whatever's in the park, and we take all the vending outside. So that would give us more than enough space to do whatever we're doing.
Right. And then we could also, since it's a family fun day, we could have, like, for the little kids, the bouncy house, we could have face painting, you know, the DJ would then also be there, you know, for the day. What did you think is a good time frame for this? Like, do we want to do like 11 to 5 or?
I think we did what? I think we did 10 to 5.
10 to 4.
We did 10 to 4. And
Yes.
finish up
And so it could be the whole day too. You can have your stuff the whole day the same time.
And
right. You'll just be part of the major planning.
Vending on the street, and if we could get to use the backyard of the deaf school, it's already set up for a children play area and a bouncing house. There's a lot of things we can put in there.
Okay. All right, well, it sounds good to me. So we said 10 to 4, but how was it? Like, I feel like 10 is a little early, like, because if you say 10, that means setup is 9.
Right.
You know, so I would like to.
When we say 10, because the permit, you have to include the permit in there. So you could say you stage between 10 and 11, and then you keep going.
Yeah.
But when we say 10 to 4, I think last time we were there early where we were putting out, but you know, people does not come at 10 o'clock.
Right.
Nobody will be there at 10 o'clock.
Right.
Around 12:30 when people finish their little morning chores, then they begin to come out. So when we say 10 to 4, we mean that by 12 o'clock, everything is out and we're just waiting for people to come.
All right.
So the timing and let me tell you this, the timing really of this event is going to be between at the executive level. All any other committees has to do is that what activity there will be put on will be joined in it. You will not be deciding on the time. The executive will decide on the time or the general board meeting, right? We will decide where, and we will tell you. So those things are not, we don't need to, like, you know, waste our energy planning logistics of this day because we're just part of the day.
Right. Well, I know that we also have to present stuff. So really quickly, I'm sorry, I need to double back because with the youth services, the youth summit, I know Fred has been asking, I guess, and you guys could clarify this because you've been doing this a little bit longer than me, that this is something like, I guess, gets approved by the community board. But, you know, during the meeting, there was this, like, I guess, a little bit of back and forth around this not necessarily needing to be something that's approved because it's not asking for money. Right. And so I don't know, there was all that stuff going on. But, you know, I know with this one, you know, I figure the more we know and the more we're able, because I have to turn in the request and things like that. Right. But I think we should be realistic around the time, because what it is we're saying 10 o'clock. You know, most people not going to come by 10. Even the vendors not going to come by 10. I think maybe pushing it around to 11 to 5 or something a little later makes more sense, because if we say it's 11 o'clock, the vendors come, 12 o'clock it starts. Mm-hmm. And if we know that that's more realistic, I'd rather do things around realistic timeframes rather than having those people who are on time sitting around for an hour, you know, and being bored. And then if we're saying, you know, the 5 o'clock, you know, let's start wrapping up and being, you know, timely. And so that when we're presenting this, we kind of have as much pieces together so that once it's approved, you know, we have a good picture. So I could kind of see in what we're doing, I see our part. The vendors that if we're saying for everybody on the it's a CB9 event, so are we looking to have it be like the vendors be like last year where it was like what, health?
I don't think at this point.
Usually our goal was to get all city agencies and CBOs and nonprofit organizations with it.
Yeah. And to be honest, we have not, as a board, we have not look at the logistics. We just had a major idea and the sort of support that we're going to have it again. Mm-hmm. Anything else that do with the planning will come later, and it would be, and all of us would know. So even the time, even where, suppose we get the bigger part, when we look at it, we will come back to every committee. Well, all board members would know. Right. So that's what I'm saying, that at this point, if we want, we would just say, look, the youth committee, we will take care of the family fun part of it. And then we will leave it to you. But everything else, I mean, having it here is just conversation. It doesn't really have any weight now until the board looks at it.
Got you. So so then Linda, how and when are we presenting this? Like, how does the next step go? So like, if we're going to say, okay, boom, this is what I was looking, I mean, we already put out there the Family Fun Day to the general meeting. How does it then look like? What's the next steps, and what do we do, and how are we prepared once we want to do this, if we're going to make this a collaborative event? How does that?
I would say something. You already pick a date, right?
Well, we didn't. That's what I was saying.
Then may I suggest you pick the date?
Oh, they said May, June was what we had talked about.
That's what I suggested you pick the date, which is going to be the weekend after Memorial Weekend. Because that's the day we probably want to continue to do that. If that will work with you, that will give you from now until June. So give you enough time to do the planning. The way it's done is that you put your date, the location you would like, and you would present it at the community, at the executive board.
Oh, the executive board meeting, okay.
At the executive board meeting, it's presented, and the executive board meeting will approve it, and that executive board meeting will bring it to the general board for them to vote on it. That's okay. The process.
Gotcha.
So the question is...
Go ahead. Linda, we can't hear you. You're on mute.
Nicholas, continue.
The board will look at what they can support in terms of money.
Okay.
So they will put that, since they say, well, this is a CB9 event, so we have to find some money to do it. Okay. And if there was not enough money, wherever we can raise the money, we'll go and raise the money. That's the reason, one of the things the treasurer is working on feverishly is to establish the Friends of CB9,
Mm-hmm.
501c3.
Yep.
So banks, any other people can donate that money to that fund, and that fund will be used for CB9 activities, especially
Now, the Friends of CB9 is already established, right? You already
it's
have.
established. They're in the process of really reactivating it. It's been in existence for some time. It was dormant. So the last time I spoke, the studio spoke, it's been doing a lot of work for the state to make it active. And I think they used to use Carver Bank. So in the process of getting all this stuff restarted.
Okay. Well, also, if
provide a mechanism for if I put Chase Bank, Carver Bank, Western Beef Supermarket, or whomever store, so they have a venue, they have a conduit where they can send money that community board can use.
Oh, well, that's what I was just going to offer up, because Soul to Souls is a 501c3. So if we find that things are going to be taking too long for stuff to be funneled through, I'm more than happy to like,
I mean, that organization can be used somewhat as a financial conduit.
Yeah. So I
have to talk to the board to see if the board will approve it. Okay. If they're not, if they don't have their 501c3 reactivated, that's what I'm saying.
All right. So I will put out there if they need it. We can be used as a financial conduit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So just to let you all know, so we've been talking, I know, a bit about the HBCU college tour. And so, one of the things I said is that I'm really not going to push for it unless we at least start to have traction with the money. So I did meet with Assemblywoman Farah Sofrant Forrest staff a week ago and talked to them about what it is that we're planning to do. And so, we decided and said that I would like to work to apply for them to give us at least $25,000, because they said that's, typically around the max amount that they'll give. Then the great thing about that meeting is they also connected me with Jabari, and I can ask him. So I'm figuring if I can ask enough. And then another thing is, I think, to reach out and see if I can get a meeting with Crystal Hudson, because we're all in their area. Then, that can help us to get enough funding going so that we can really make it a reality. And, so I do want you guys to know that I am still working on it, but also if you all have, if some of you are Greek, your sororities, fraternities, or know people who are, I know that that's a big thing that, they support. So if you all know people, can we start, funneling the information and work to do some pitches to them so that we could get this, pretty much covered 100%. And then it would be very minimum payment required of who wants to come. But I do believe that there should be a payment, because what I've noticed is that when I've done these things in the past with other organizations, when things are completely free, all of a sudden, 5 kids don't show up.
Yep.
They have no investment. And the way we could do it is that what money is given, some of it would then just really go back to the kids as stipends during the trip. So, you know what I'm saying? So that is something that I would do. If we say it's $300, which we know is very little money for something like this, there has to be an investment on the family's part to do it.
How many kids are we aiming for?
30 kids and 12 adults. So we need a commitment of 12 adults who would be willing to go on the trip with us.
Okay.
And then 30 kids, so at least 42 people or so. Okay. And then trying to get, I think they have 50 or 50-seater bus.
Buses,
right. We would do that, but then we're also working to get donations of food and things like that, so we'd have snacks and all of that available for the kids and not have to break our pockets to offer that.
Sounds
you
good.
Should also approach Councilman Rita Joseph in the south end of the district. and also Darlene Millie. Those two also should be.
Who was the other person after Rita Joseph?
Darlene Millie. She is on the very east side, toward Utica Avenue, Troy Avenue.
Can you spell the name? Because I'm not quite.
Darlene.
D? You said D?
As in David. Darlene.
Oh, Darlene. Got you.
Mely.
Okay.
Contact her office also.
Darlene Millie?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we could reach out. Does anybody have contacts or connections with any of them?
Well, Dante could make a phone call. There's some of the elected that's part of the community board.
Okay.
The only thing you were talking about the Greek, I know one person in Omega Psi Phi. I don't know if I could reach out to him. I was not a Greek myself, so
okay.
I know they're very active. I'm looking for golfers too. Anybody play golf here?
No.
Because they do they do a large golf tournament. The Omega Psi Phi people around here.
Okay. All right. All right. So we kind of ran through everything a bit today, but I would like to make sure we still wait a few minutes because we have a guest speaker coming. This is the guidance counselor, Keisha Hopkins of Base High School in Prospect Heights. And so what I asked her to talk about is like discussing the needs of students of 16 years and older. The other thing is I also have a commitment for our next meeting in December from Superintendent Lindsay, who is District 17, which is our district. She will be coming and being able to talk to us for probably, I think she wants to do the top of the meeting. And she'll be able to speak to us. Are there any particular people or areas that you think as a youth service committee, you know, we should invite people to talk to us and kind of, you know, keep us on track with what we do and, you know, feed us information? Is there anything that people think, you know, or like any suggestions around that? I guess basically is what I'm asking. Any guest speakers, anything we feel we need to know?
I'm thinking like a lot of like maybe serial entrepreneurs, because especially with the teens these days, you know, with a lot of them not going to college primarily or just wanting other ways to make money, you know, like their high schoolers making money in high school now, so even before to fund their college education. So maybe entrepreneurs. Yeah.
You're saying entrepreneurs for
say
for students or for us? Who are we targeting?
For people, for us to come speak to us, and then maybe we can incorporate that in one of our fairs. You know, so I know like some people when they turn 18, you know, they could, you know, start their LLCs, they can how to fund those type of things, money management type stuff. I'm just like spitting out what I just thought, so it's not.
Well, I have definitely money management. I know quite a few people who like that's what they do. So if we want to definitely like have somebody talk about that with us, that's pretty easy for me to do. So we talked about entrepreneurism, and then if they're good, we can also incorporate them into our fairs. We talked about money management. So another thing that I did do, and I'm gonna start because I didn't present it to the group yet, is I spoke to a few youth that are in our high school program about attending some of our meetings to be kind of like a youth voice. So I wanted to know how people felt about that. So by the next meeting, they'll come and they'll attend. How do people feel or think about having youth action on the committee?
Excellent.
If I say something,
Excellent.
it was done last year because the last youth committee used to have some youth. I think they had a youth representative in that committee before. So that's been done. It's quite encouraging to have them there.
Nicholas, I don't think what Saul is talking about is what we did last time. Last time we just had you know, some people come and speak about the business. Saul, I like your idea. I like your idea where those youth will come to our meeting, this meeting, right? and we listen to them. Not a meeting like what we used to do, like a lecture type, seminar type. They just come and listen, and we try to get them prices to entice them with incentive. If you've got 3, 4, 5 kids who want to come, I mean young people, kids, but I say kids, I'm a mother, grandmother.
Yeah.
Young people who want to come to our meeting like this and have a say, I am in for it. Excellent idea. Invite them on. We, for years, and I always say this is not right. We sit and we plan what we think young people want. It's time we listen to them.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember last year, Primo, who run that committee, had 1 or 2 students being there. If you could talk to him and find out. And also Michael Liebert was one of, I think he's a guidance counselor in one of these schools. But definitely a student representative. From what I remember, they were trying to keep a particular position into the committee for youth. That's a youth representative part of the committee. I think it's an excellent idea. But I want to also add, if you're talking about entrepreneur, I think we could try to reach Jeff Lindor of the Gentleman Factory on Flatbush Avenue. They're running a lot of programs for kids after high school or youth that have left school and that needs to get, they are mostly doing a lot of stuff in renewable energy. They do OSHA course presentation to allow them to go and work in the construction industry. That's somebody who could reach out to.
Okay.
Not everybody's going to go to college.
Okay. That sounds good. So yeah, so for next meeting, I'm going to definitely invite the youth and have them come. Like the girls, that the ones who volunteered and are interested are very sharp. You know, they're new groups of girls that we're working with, but like these girls are like getting 90s. You know, I looked at their report card. They're like really good students. The discussions that we have, they're very insightful. So I'm happy that they're excited and open to participating with us. You know, I'm still opening it up to some of the YABC young people. They're a little bit more reluctant, but there may be at least a couple of them that I could be like, hey, you know, just commit, give your voice, you know, let them know they matter. You know, because that population is, you know, they're still trying to get out of high school. They might be 18, 19 years old. So, you know, their self-esteem is a little bit different. So with this, though, it may be also a way to build their self-esteem, because then they could feel like, hey, you know, I'm a part of a youth committee and what I'm saying actually matters, and they're listening to our suggestions.
Definitely, I definitely agree. That's a real wonderful idea. For those one for the YABC, these are particular the group of people that Jeff Linders are looking for.
Okay.
People that are much older, people that have left school and are trying to get back into the workforce. And these, yeah, well, when I was teaching, this was what you call the at-risk kid. So I don't know if they use that anymore, but definitely put them in there, get them involved, and not only build the self-esteem, it could give them the conduit, the direction they need to make it for their lives.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. Are there any other suggestions as to maybe topics and people we would like to see? I mean, I personally would like to see at least one or two politicians talking. I know, so what I did learn when I was speaking to Justin, who's with the Assembly woman, Sofrat Forrest, that there's actually a youth committee that politicians sit on that's called Youth Service. Like I think it's like the same name as us, something very similar. So a youth service committee. And so us, because I had asked him, you know, can Assemblywoman Farah come and speak to us? And he was like, well, it's kind of more of a city council, I guess, thing to be more invested in the community board, but that there is a youth service committee that particular people that fit within our community board may be interested, because it's like, you know, so the fact that we don't really know about them, like what are they focused on, what are they doing, and then what can we possibly partner with to do together so that we are servicing the community in some kind of way.
Well, if I may say, Rita Joseph is the chair of the education committee. She was just a teacher before she became a council person. She's the key person for that. As a matter of fact, she passed her first bill this week in the city council, and she's really focused on education and everything. Reach out to her office, she'll be more than happy. She's very accessible to come and talk to the youth committee.
Okay, that sounds good. And then I saw her office because I also have a program at Erasmus in one of the schools. And saw that her office was right across the street.
Right across the street, yeah. So reach out, walk into the office, talk to them. I think he's the staff that's responsible for that. I'm working with him. Is Mike Weinberger, because I'm trying to get a gym for youth group that's been on for 30 years for the winter. As a matter of fact, today I called Wingate, I called Erasmus, I found out all the gym are taken by PSCL, and tomorrow I'm going to call Prospect Heights High School for the winter, because we've got screens, so we've been trying to do that since last year. Also, it would be of interest to reach also State Senator Zell Almighty office. There's somebody working on that. They do a lot of basketball tournament over the summer. And they're associated with the New York Nets. Okay. So you could call and speak to the chief of staff. I don't have his name on the top of my head. So those people, you could go to the youth committee where you cover both the sport. In my committee that I chair, which is park recreation, so that's the reason I'm doing that, because I'm involved in recreation. Get some of those sport activity in the community board move as much as possible.
Okay. That sounds good. Okay. So we have 4 minutes before Miss Keisha Hopkins is supposed to join us. Are there any, to me, this is what we're talking about is falls under new business. I believe we went over old business. Is there anything else thoughts or suggestions of anything that we haven't thought about thus far? So I was hearing somebody talking about, was there like some shooting or something within our area most recently? Does anybody know about that?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, I don't think I'm aware of anything. I keep a close tab on
Is the one over by Mega Evers?
Yeah, somebody was telling me about it, and I was like, when they said it, it sounded like it was in our community board. So, but I hadn't really heard about it on my own personal.
The only thing I've heard of on the news, I think it was Friday or Saturday, seemed like it was a murder-suicide. That's what the news is saying.
Okay.
Yeah, it was on, I think, Bedford and Crown.
Avenue. Yes.
Yeah, Bedford and Crown, yeah.
That's the one, because I remember them saying the
yeah.
Okay. So with some of the things that we see going on within our community and things like that, like what can our committees do, or how can we be involved to hopefully think about how we can prevent, not be reactionary, but be proactive? What do you think as a committee? Are there anything that we should focus on or we can do, that we should consider thinking about that we haven't been?
And possession of a firearm during the felony. She receives life plus 5 years.
Talking about prevention, there's one organization that was brought in.
Whoever has a TV or something off, can you turn it off while you're talking? Because it's hard to hear.
That's not coming from me. Let me see.
Somebody got to mute, but go ahead.
I think it's
Yeah,
maybe
with that, because 2 years ago, in my block, that was when the major shooting took place.
Okay.
At the corner of Rogers and Winthrop, where the rapper was killed.
Okay.
They say that was in revenge for another rapper that was somewhere on the West Coast. And
Okay.
also a few blocks away at the restaurant called Zami, that's Arthon and Nostran, you had that other major shooting.
Mm-hmm.
That, all the politicians got together and they brought in from Brownsville the group called Elite Learners. Elite Learners has an office of Rogers and between Winthrop and there. They are basically one of the major organizations that's been given a grant to do violence prevention.
Mm-hmm.
And they usually, in their office, they usually get a group of youth that comes in after school and all that stuff.
Okay.
So that may be one group, the safety committee probably might be involved with them. You could also reach out to the community officers, Sergeant Burata, and police officer Nefertiti Charles, which
Okay.
are the community officers, because they are aware of some of these, and then they can get the youth committee with the Elite Learners, because they got a big grant from the city to do a lot of violence prevention by providing all kind of elite learners.
Okay.
And they're very well connected with Zelnor Myri's office. They've done a lot of activities together. And also, I think right now they used to be very close to Diana Richardson, but now Assemblyman Cunningham is also involved with them.
Okay.
And Elite Learners is not just here in this community, but there are many other places within the Brooklyn.
All right. Well, that sounds good to me. So, it's now 8:02. Miss Hopkins hopefully will be on in a couple of minutes. So we'll give her a few minutes. I know I sent her an email and then just sent another email reminder letting her know. So I'll give her a couple minutes. And are there just because we have a couple minutes, are there any, I know we talked about the money, we talked about a couple of things, but are there any areas in which we think we could like raise money or get funds for some of the projects and things that we have? Or if you know of like particular businesses or organizations or things in the past that have been supportive of the kind of work that we do that has been able to provide some level of funding or donations, do you guys have any suggestions around that?
I was thinking around this time, I know like Giving Tuesday is usually a big thing. So I know I'm trying to think what platforms people use, but just sometimes just general like cold calling or just creating fundraisers online and then having people donate on that Giving Tuesday. So you build up the momentum, but that's coming up soon. I guess we can always extend it past the holidays as well. But I think sometimes just old fashioned asking people online.
Okay.
So just making it clear, obviously this is where the money's going.
So are we like saying, when you're saying online, are we just saying posting on social media? And are we like also dedicated to saying, okay, I'm going to make sure I ask at least 10 people to donate at least this amount, us utilizing our own network, I know is something that usually works too.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do. Like everybody has a responsibility. I think 10 is a good number. Asking 10 people whatever amount they can give, and then asking those people, hey, if you can expend this, send this link to your network, and then have them ask whoever they can give. But just making it very clear, like, okay, this is where your money is going, and then we'll have the results to show at the end of the year.
Okay. Okay. I agree. I think that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And then hopefully in the midst of that, it gets in the right hands, somebody
Right.
just, it's the easiest way, I think.
Okay. All right. So I like the ideas, and are anybody familiar with, like, in terms of food, are there any places that have been generous or have been supportive around that?
Yes, Billy's Pizza on Bedford Avenue between Carroll and President. They support a lot of those things. They wouldn't mind. Billy's Pizza is one, and
Okay.
there's another restaurant up the street. I don't have the exact name, but I'll get it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a Caribbean restaurant. They're good with food donations as well.
Oh, are you talking about Balboa's?
No, not Balboa's. It's on Franklin Avenue.
Franklin what?
Franklin between Union and President.
What kind of restaurant?
Yeah, it's Caribbean food.
You talking about Lemongrass?
Yes.
Okay, that's around the corner from me. I live right there.
Yes, Lemongrass.
They donate? Interesting. Okay.
Yes, and Billy's definitely does. And also Subway. Subway's on Bedford does as well.
Subway's pretty big with that. Yeah, I agree.
Yes, you just have to go to the manager and speak with him and in advance, and they'll support us.
Okay. Yeah. What about stuff like, does anybody have any connections with, like, Costco's or BJ's? So, like, we'd have chips, drinks, things like that. Is there anything like that available that anyone knows about or has been successful?
I know in the past, like Walmart is tied with Sam's Club, right? So Sam's Club did, I don't know how far in advance you have to do it, but if you say you're doing like a field day or something like that, they would do a bunch of waters and like little granola bars and stuff. So I'm pretty sure Costco would do something similar, whatever is closer to here. But I know you had to do it like, I think 2 months in advance because they had to get approval and all of that. But okay. They definitely do. That was a few years ago that I remember doing that.
I think the only problem is that, well, there's no Sam's Club, I don't think, in New York. But the other thing is that Walmart, the closest I think is Long Island. I don't think there's any from what I realize, there's no Walmarts in the city.
It's that and Bayonne. It's the closest.
Okay.
New Jersey, yeah. So it's worth a shot, but.
Okay.
One on Greenacres Mall, right outside Rosedale. That's the only. Greenacres Mall for Walmart.
Oh, okay.
The border of Rosedale and Valley Spring.
Yeah.
Closest. But I think it doesn't hurt if somebody go and approach the Costco on 3rd Avenue and the BJ on Foster Avenue. These are really
right. Right. Okay. All right. So we'll give her a couple more minutes, like if she's forgot or I don't really know what happened then, but she did say she had a meeting right before this meeting, so you know how that can go. So it's possible she got caught up or her other meeting is running late. All right. But one thing I wanted to do though is acknowledge and thank all of you, because thus far I've been seeing a certain level of dedication and participation with all of you that's been coming to the Youth Services committee meetings. So I wanted to thank you for all of that. I guess another thing that I would like to talk or think about is, we're creating the list and we're planning, but what I think the next step should be you know, where like this is not enough for like one person to do, you know, to pursue all of these things. So, you know, I don't want to put on myself or just John like, oh, do this. Like, I believe that it'd be good for all of us to start to split up the duties of, you know, doing this. So if there's people who have connection with the food donations, because we have a bunch of events coming up, who can dedicate to working to, like, I think the main two would be starting with BJ's, Costco's, who could dedicate to making the outreach.
Oh, you hear me?
I can now.
I don't mind. So if you write me down for that, I'll write it down right now too. And then should I email you once I figure out what? Okay.
Yes. And that's another thing, Khalid. Like, how do we, because we don't really have each other's contact information. Like, what do we do about that? Because even if I wanted to contact people, I don't have it. If everybody agrees that it's okay to have it, can we get a list to share amongst each other so we can communicate outside of meetings to follow up about some of the duties?
Yes. So I just have to, you know, make sure it's okay with, you know, parties involved. So if you want to give me a call tomorrow and I just, you know, write down the people's contact information you want, and I'll have to, you know, reach out to them. And when they let me know it's okay, then I could provide that.
All right. So what about the people on this meeting? Can we just say it's okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I know for me, it's fine if people have my phone number and my email. I'm okay with that.
You'll have, you know, it's recorded, so I'll just, you know, take it offline and just send them your information.
Okay.
So who is it that you want?
Yeah. So like if between, you know, all of us that's here, can we, you know, get that information?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, Luana. You've been quiet this whole time.
I know.
Yeah.
I have no problem. How are you? I have no problem with my contact info.
Okay.
Okay.
And
okay.
Okay, I'll do that right now.
Okay. So Linda, are you okay with sharing, with us having your info? Nicholas, are you okay?
For sure. I'm a member of a board. I'm a member of a community board. And I think if you're a member of a community board, the community should know you.
Yeah, all right.
We are okay. Yeah. I don't mind me sharing. I give my number to almost everybody.
All
Me
right.
too.
Yeah, are you okay with that? Cynthia?
Okay.
Yes, I'm definitely, I'm okay with it. It's no problem.
All right. And John, are you okay with it?
I don't think they have my proper info, so
Yeah,
you can give them my email because they don't have my proper info because I don't know what they gave you, my mother's house info.
Yeah. Send your information to Khalid and he take care of it.
Yeah, let Khalid know and then.
So please give John the Brooklyn Community Board 9 email and I'll formulate that email right away.
All right. No problem. All right. So do we want to wait another couple minutes or do we just want to adjourn at this time? Like I said, she might have been caught with her meeting beforehand. What are people
able to send her a text instead of
I don't have her, I only have her job number. So the only thing I was able to do was send her emails.
Email, okay.
Yeah.
I'll give her another 5 minutes.
Personal, okay.
Because
I think she can come another time. We've been here a long time.
All right. All right, no problem. So, you know, if anything happens, I'll just let her know, you know, we ended up ending the meeting. We can also bring her on again next month. Have Superintendent Lindsay. I would like for you all to, if possible, can you bring another person or two? Because I feel like, you know, when we have guest speakers, we want to show that we have good attendance and that people want to hear and be involved. So if there's anybody who is, you know, interested in education and what we want to do for young people, through the Youth Services Committee, you know, let's help us to grow a little bit more and get some more focus across.
Oh,
Yes,
why
like-
do you, why, yeah, hello, why don't you ask the board to, when you send out our meeting, sort of like send an invitation to the whole board,
Okay.
you know, to the general board, and invite them to come to stuff. And please, would you please use a similar system that we use in our board meeting when we have guest speakers? Please don't let them come at the end. They must be there at the beginning so people will have an opportunity to have a small discussion, even if you want to make it like a 15 minutes period for them or half an hour.
Okay.
And you said to
get guest speaker, let them open.
Just for clarification, you said to invite the whole board. So should I put a flyer together then?
Even that.
Yeah, you could do that for the email blast on
Yes.
Friday, but if they're already on the email blast for the
Yeah, but they might.
get that
But
list. But if you could put a specific flyer, that also would enhance it.
All right, no problem. I'll make a flyer. All right, so we are going to put a motion forward to adjourn the meeting. So anybody second?
so move. So second.
All right, so thank you everybody who's involved. I appreciate all of you who were able to attend tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Good
All right.
night.
Good night.
Good night all. Have a good blessed day.
Welcome.
Bye, everybody.